Hey, you're listening to the right episode if you want to hear what we're calling two thumbs up. And Carl and I are talking about sales ideas, some that we've had, some that others have contributed to, and really giving either a thumbs up, thumbs down, or do these work, or do we think, in our opinion, if they're the best use of your time? So you're listening to the Loan Officer Leadership Podcast, powered by the Mortgage Marketing Animals. Carl, man, this is a great episode. We're just taking some ideas and just like a movie reviewer saying thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah, we did a previous episode of this before, and we thought it went pretty good. And so I thought,
Yeah.
let's do part two. So it's just a hodgepodge of ideas that we've had over the year, that we've done over the years. People have told us about, and that we implemented. And some of these things that frankly I forgot about because it's funny, the activities we do when we first start and the activities we do today are different activities, right?
They are.
The things that take you from 0 loans to 4, different set of activities that takes you from 4 to 8 and 8 to 20 and 20 to 100 and so forth. So anyway.
Hey, and I'll tell you, on episode 278, I was a little surprised you gave some thumbs ups on things. I thought, I guess I got to think about that a little bit different, because I'm just assuming, nope, that's a thumbs down. That's not going to work. And you shocked me. So I can't wait to hear.
Yeah. So and if you haven't listened to that episode, it's the episode before this one, go listen to that. But I think you had a rebuttal, but is it the best use of time? So maybe that'll go into play here today. So, all right, what's the first one you want to go over?
All right. Hey, so the first one is we've got, let's see here, FSBOs. So drive areas for FSBOs and follow up with owners, also calling for sell by owner. So,
all right. So
now listen, you can get business from it. So let's hear thumbs up, thumbs down.
Well, let me tell you, I probably made my first $200,000-300,000 a year doing this.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have I ever shared this with you?
You have. Tell us about it.
So the FSBO thing worked for me really well. It did. Now, again, is it the best use of time? Probably not. Right. But is it a good use? I'd give this a good solid B.
Yeah.
Let's call it that. Right. So for me, referral partners is A, because the problem with the FSBO is once I close that deal, I'm fired. I don't get another, past database, they refer me here and there, but the real estate agents refer to me every week. To get a FSBO to refer to me every week after it closes is not real likely. But here's what I did. So I started off by riding around the neighborhood and writing down FSBO signs. And then I got the great idea of, I was ordering pizza one night for the kids. And I thought, I said, I bet you drive all over the place delivering these pizzas. I said, yes, sir, I do. Well, let me tell you what I'm looking for. If you'll write down on a piece of paper just the phone number of every FSBO sign you run around in this area, which was my area I lived in, because he's a pizza driver for the Pizza Hut in my neighborhood. And I said, you take a picture of those and text it to me, and I'll give you $2 for every phone number you give me. Right. So hell, he's driving around anyway, right? And again, this is a few years back, so I'd probably increase it a little bit, maybe, and maybe not, right? It's free money to him. And man, he gave me a slew of phone numbers, right?
Yeah. What a great idea.
Yeah. So then and a phone number and address. And so then I wouldn't call them. I went and literally knocked on their door. So I'd go knock on their door, and I had a help you sell program.
Okay.
And so I would provide a post, which the local post company, that realtors, I think the posts at the time were $20 a month. And so for $20 a month, the post guy would go hang a post. I would get for sale by owner signs on it. And then I had a talking house program where you call this number and you hear a pre-recorded message about the house. And then when you do that, I would get texted, hey, this phone number just called this house to get information about it. And the people that called that would either be the homeowner, right, which is cool because they see I'm following up on the leads, a nosy neighbor, not bad. They're wanting to know, they're not wanting to know what that house is going for. They're wanting to know what their house would go for. And so those are good referrals to my referral partners, my real estate agents, right? So I hunted off a ton of listings from nosy neighbors. Or it's somebody looking to buy a house, right? Somebody's not looking to buy a house. Somebody that's not a nosy neighbor, they're not going to call. Or realtors. Sometimes realtors would call. I'd catch them and say, hey, well, you want me to put this talking house sign on yours? So I'd be following up on the leads for you like I am this person. Yeah, I love that. And so that worked out pretty good. Almost always I would close the loan of the person moving in that house, because almost always the homeowner would refer them to me. If they didn't call the sign, if they just, I don't know, somehow knocked on the door or whatever, almost always they'd refer them to me to do the mortgage.
Wow.
And almost always, it was a high percentage, probably 80%. It was real high. And almost always, I literally can't think of an exception. I'm sure there was, I can't think of one, where I'd write the loan of the for sale by owner selling their house, moving to the house they were, if they were in, at the time I was only licensed in Florida. So as long as they're moving to Florida, I'd always get their loan. So I'd get about most of the time 2 loans for every sign that I hung up.
Wow.
So that worked well for me. Here's the problems it had.
Okay.
The problems that it had is if I go knock on their door at 10 o'clock in the morning, they're not there, they're at work. So this was an after hours thing. For me, it was a Saturday thing. Totally uncool, because for about the 2 years that I did this, I wasn't at the ball field with my kid playing baseball. Right. I was working instead. Horrible thing to do. Huge mistake. So that was one flaw, is it's an after hours and a weekend thing. Now, if I don't have any kids, I'm not married. Maybe I'd take Monday and Tuesday off instead of Saturday and Sunday, whatever. I think it would be okay. I tell you another problem it had. I referred a ton of listings. I did. But I got some real backlash from the real estate agents saying, hey, Carl, we won't sell houses, or we won't loan money if you don't sell houses. I go, yeah, but I'm doing it to get help. 70% of them end up listing. And I'm doing it to get referrals. I hear what you're saying, but we promise not to loan money for free if you promise not to sell houses. So that's actually the reason why I stopped it, is because I was like, I'd call on realtors. Oh, you're that guy that sells houses for free.
So there was an unintended consequence.
Yeah. And I thought, man, of all the things I want to be known for, that's probably not
it.
List, right? Because I'm looking for listing leads, right? And that's just the way I did it. So so while it was effective, and it was, the weekend thing was an issue, the after hours thing was an issue, and being known as a guy that sold houses for free what was an issue. So so I would give this a gosh, even though it worked, it caught, like, it gave me my start. Because for me, when I first started, I didn't know anything about mortgages. And I thought, well, if I go talk to FSBOs, they don't know anything about mortgages either, right? So I could screw up a question, and not on purpose, but by mistake. And hell, nobody's going to know.
They won't even know. Yeah.
They won't even know, And the guy I was working with at the time, his name Dave Hoyt, was phenomenal. And he was real good about saying, oh, Carl must have misspoke or misheard, or, oh, no, that's not exactly right, but here's what we can do. So he was great on backpedaling as I learned, what to do. So I would say,
hey, hold on. Let me say before you say that, here's what's interesting is it's the perspective of now 20 years and having built one of the largest branches and teams in the country, looking back saying, hey, that will get you business, but what if there's a better way?
Yeah, so this worked. There's definitely better ways. So I'd probably, even though I did, man, this gave me my start, and
unless you had a who. So if you had a who could run it.
Respectful, to this program for helping me get my start, but I would hate to be a part of anybody listening to this and then saying, hey, I think I'm going to do that on Saturday morning instead of hang out with my kid. I never want to be a part of that, because I know the damage it caused me by my father working on the weekends all the time growing up, and the damage here it is, 60 years later, that it still affects me, having a father that worked all the time. I will not be a part of that with somebody else. So, so because of that reason, I'm going to give this one a thumbs down.
Done. I like it.
Yeah, I'm going to give this a thumbs
down.
And
hey, listen, it goes back to, we got a printing press. It'll print $1 bills with a lot more energy, a lot more, electricity, a lot more ink, or it can print $100 bills with less energy, less ink, and more efficient.
Yeah. And you know what, Steve, even with a who on this one,
we became known
as the mortgage company that sells houses for free.
That's
and
not good.
and it
That's not
caused me.
good.
It caused damage. It
Yeah.
did.
Okay. Hey, I got another one. And you told me you've done this one, so I'd love to hear this one. Door hangers for renters,
So
which is funny because you asked me, have I done it? And my answer was yes, I've done it. I just didn't do it consistent enough to see good results.
all right. So I tried doing door hangers, and the apartment complexes wouldn't allow it and threatened to call the police on me. So
so were you out there putting them out there? Or you paid somebody to go out there?
yeah, so I was out hanging them, right?
Guerrilla
I had
marketing.
virtually no results from it, just as an FYI. All right.
Yeah.
So then I got the idea, well, let me send them a mailer.
Yeah.
Well, how do you know
Okay.
what their address is?
Um,
Dude, I don't know if I've ever shared this before. In fact, I know I haven't. So I went to the mailboxes. At apartments, they have a
yeah.
central mailbox. You go there and
Sure.
there's 1,000 mailboxes there. And there's also a big freaking trash can where everybody throws their junk mail. Yeah, you
You're
got it.
trash diving.
I
No.
I would go in there at like super early in the morning, like 5 o'clock in the morning with my
Wow.
truck. I would
Wow.
grab the bags of trash out of the mail room, throw it
Somebody
in my throw it in my truck, go
no.
home. Because there's no bananas or food or trash in there because it's just
Sure
the mail.
it's
Right? It's mailbox.
yeah. Yeah.
And, and then I would
Wow.
dump that trash in my garage, and that's how we got our
Sorted the
mailing list.
mail.
Yeah, that's how we got the
Wow.
mailing list.
Carl White.
I wanted this so bad. I wanted success so bad, I just
Wow.
wanted it so
Now
bad. And so we mailed to them, and it was virtually no success whatsoever.
yeah.
So I would give this a very enthusiastic thumbs down. So I learned something from a buddy of mine about this same time, and he said, "Carl, look for people who are looking for you.
That's a
Look
good
for people
phrase.
who are looking for you."
Yeah.
Because see, if I'm going after the renters, I got a two-step process. Number one, I have to teach them buying a house is a good thing instead of renting. And then only after I've done that, step two, you need to borrow the money from me.
Mm-hmm.
So if we find people that's already out looking for houses, we eliminate step one, and we're doing nothing but step two.
Mm-hmm.
And you could eliminate a whole process and go only to people that are actively looking to
Yeah.
buy. It's a much, 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 much better list to work off of. So
It's
for
really
me,
hard. Hey, it's hard to get
while
motivation. You can't
yeah, so for
you
me, the renter thing, I think it could work at a slow level. But again, if I spent that same amount of time going after referral partners who
that
are
already
who
have.
that already have people already looking, and they're looking to buy now because they're already calling on houses. That's how the realtor probably found they called either an open house, or they called one of their listings. It's just a far, 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 far better way to do it. So I'm going to give the apartments, even though I got
Door
some buddies
hangers.
of mine that actually sell services where they come to find out you can buy those mailing lists. You don't have to dumpster dive. And by the way, I'm not even sure that was legal. Like I'm just it's in the trash. I think that I told myself, hey, it's public domain. It's in the trash. It's not. I'm not going in the mailboxes pulling out mail. Right? It's in the trash.
Yeah.
But that still may or may not be. So I'm gonna recommend not
Thumbs
doing
down
that.
on that one. Yeah.
I'm gonna give this. Yeah, I'm gonna give the entire rental thing just a massive thumbs down. Yeah, look for people who are looking for you. Put things in process where they're already looking. Don't
I
don't
love
try
that.
somebody into doing something. Find somebody that already wants to do it, and now all you have to do is do it with you.
Love it. All right. Hey, and that leads into one more, which I thought was great. Postcard to postcard mail or not? Like
Postcard mail. All right. So hey,
I like this one.
I'm looking to do postcard. Well, I think we got two different sections we can do this. We're going to send out
Yeah.
postcards to strangers
Yeah.
where I'm buying a list, or postcards to my database. Is that good? So let's do the strangers first.
Okay. Hey, and you did an A/B test on this, which will lead into the past clients and sphere of influence. Because let's talk about that. So, do I send postcards consistently over time to strangers to a
So
bought
first of
list?
all, I've done postcards where I buy a list that were people of high interest rates to
Mhm.
refinance. I did that first.
Yeah.
I had a buddy of mine that was knocking out of the park. He was probably closing 16 a month doing that. Right. Dude, I bought the list from the same so he was up in Michigan. I bought the list from the same list broker.
Mm-hmm.
I copied my buddy's postcard with his permission. I copied his postcard. I did the exact same offer. I sent out the exact same amount, same stamp, same color. Like, dude, it was literally exact. I got nothing. And I said tens of thousands of dollars that I spent on these things.
Wow.
And I got zero. And the dude's close. And I went, this makes no sense whatsoever.
Huh.
And so I said, dude, maybe it's my picture that's on the postcard. So with his permission, I literally put his picture with my name on the postcard, literally.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't. I was glad to hear it wasn't my picture. So
Wasn't the picture.
dude, I sucked eggs on
Yeah.
on mailing to strangers. So now let's talk about mailing to people that well, you know what? I take that back. I do have a success story.
Yeah.
So I went down to my title company.
Yeah.
And I said, I want 300 owner occupied middle of the road homes.
Mm-hmm.
So they were in my neighborhood.
Yep.
And so we got 300 houses, and I started mailing to them as if they were my past database. Not looking to trick them. I'm already sending out this mailer to my past database. I'm just going to mail that one out. And so I started sending out a monthly mailer to them, just like they're my past database. At about 2 or 3 months, I started getting referrals from these people. At 6 months, it was converting as well as my own past database.
They didn't know.
That is the strangest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like, why am I getting these referrals from these strangers as if I'm their past lender? And Diane and I were talking about here in my office, and she said, well, you know what it is, Carl? I said, no, I don't. She goes, they think you are their past lender because their past lender isn't mailing them.
Yeah.
And that was not my intention. I don't like tricking people, right? So I didn't think of that. And so that actually worked out for me pretty good. So the question is on postcards in particular. So do you think it matters what you send out to your past database?
We did a case, there's a guy named Joe Girard. He is the Guinness Book of World Record holder for selling used cars. And when you look at it's almost a 15-year career. On average, he sold 3 cars a day. From every, literally, if you just take the days he worked, he averaged 3 cars a day. And the craziest thing, Carl, is when they asked him, what are you doing? He said, I just send a monthly mailer that has a thumbs up, I like you card. Nothing fancy, no gimmick, no recipes. Although I know recipes and things like that work. It just, hey, I like you, monthly mailer. And I love the postcard because the results, when it's coupled with a quarterly phone call, and look, if you go to freedomplanningcall.com, we'll literally give you the strategy of how to stay connected with your database. Carl, our network, we get about 28% of our business, not about, the number's 28%, come from this strategy of monthly mailing, sphere of influence, past clients, and our database. And we couple it with a call. We've got a strategy around it, a quarterly text and email. And I think this is a great use of your time. But here's the thing, you just don't need to spend a lot of time designing it, because the truth is, it doesn't even matter what it is. It's that you're consistent and they get something from you every single month.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I have found that I've done all kinds of fancy mailers and everything, postcards, recipe cards, letters from the heart, Superman letters, letters of success. They all pulled exactly the same, which is phenomenal. They all pulled great to my past database when combined with a phone call.
Oh yeah, the phone call's key.
I did a test of my database. We did the mailers without the phone calls. It was a drastic decrease. So even though oddly enough, Steve, most of our referrals didn't come while we made that phone call. It's like we make the phone calls.
They get a postcard and they see and they say, we just had that. I got a
then like a month or two later.
Yeah.
That's when we get the we get the referral. So a lot of people think, well, the phone call itself, we get some referrals on the phone call, but most of the time it was after the phone call. And but we did see a substantial increase with the subsection we did where we're making phone calls also. So big difference, huge difference. So if you're not making a phone call, don't send a postcard. But postcards
And I
actually
love
work.
that.
It surprised me. I thought these other letters would work better than a
Yeah.
postcard. And the postcard, works out pretty good.
And it's not super expensive,
No.
and it's free money. We know the results we see through our members in Freedom Club is for a database of 100 and past clients, you're going to close, or the results we have seen that are typical for our members, anywhere from 1 to 3 transactions per 100 people in your database
per month.
And per month.
So if somebody has 300 people in their past database, kind of a modest amount,
is anywhere from 3 to
8 loans.
Yeah.
Just from that.
Just from doing the mailers and being consistent
and
along
calling.
with the phone calls. Yeah. It's the mailers, it's the phone call, it's the email, it's all of it. And so we've got a whole process for it. Again, go to freedomplanningcall.com. If you're not a member, you want to see what we're doing on our Wednesday database day. We'll give it to you, fill out a couple of pieces of information so we can better prepare for the call. Myself, Carl, one of our team members will jump on a 45-minute strategy call and really help you map out how to make postcards even more effective with converting into even more loans. So freedomplanningcall.com. Carl, I love that. So I give postcards a thumbs up when it's being coupled with phone calls because the results are staggering. It's a lot of money.
Yeah. Which, by the way, just to complete the story, when I sent these postcards to the strangers in my neighborhood that didn't know who I was, and it was performing like my database, the very first things that we sent to them was little things. Hey, enter in to win a $25 gift certificate for free gas.
Yeah.
And how they would do that is they would text us and how
Now
they
you
would
got
enter.
their
So
phone
now
numbers.
I've got their phone numbers.
Yeah.
And so now we started calling them, and then we would insert in thing. Hey, just email me free gas for me, and I'll enter in to be the winner, and I'll tell you who won. And now I've got their email. So in over a period of time, I had not all of them, but a good portion of them. I had their address to do the snail mail. I had the phone number to do the calls, and I had the email to do the emails. And so it was always a combination of those 3 things where we got our best results. So cool.
I love it.
And we'll show you. We'll show them all to you.
Freedomplanningcall.com. So freedomplanningcall.com will show it to you. And Carl, what a great episode. I'm loving this 2 thumbs up, man. It's so cool to talk about, and a little surprising on what gets a thumbs up and what doesn't. It's a great conversation. So thank you all for being a part of the journey and the story. We're grateful to have you here. Hey, one thing I do want to do is just an ethical bribe. It always helps us when you give a review, an honest review on the podcast. Go to wherever you consume podcasts and listen. If you'll give us an honest review, take a snapshot of it, send a picture of that review to Support at the Marketing Animals. Carl, let's do this. We'll give you a Mortgage Marketing Animals tumbler for an honest review. And so, hey, by the way, I hear it might be a little bit better than a Yeti cup. Carl did an A/B test and cannot believe it, but I think it might have outperformed Yeti. And so we'll give you a Mortgage Marketing Animals tumbler for an honest review. Take a snapshot, send it over to support@themarketinganimals.com. support@themarketinganimals.com. Give us your address. We'll mail it out to you. So, hey, thank you all for being a part of the journey, the story, great conversation. Remember this, anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Just get started. See ya.